Hi, I'm George Campbell,
And I'm Thomas Campbell. We're the owners of GT Campbell Plumbing.
and we've been in business for over 20 years now, serving the Rochester area and Monroe County and throughout Monroe County.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about garbage disposals, some of the issues that we see that customers have. One in particular is jams or plugs within disposals. We want to make sure that customers aren't thinking that they have to buy a whole new disposal. There's a few things to look at, and we're going to try to explain that as best as we can for you.
Yeah, well, one of the things is sometimes the homeowner will come into a new home, they have a garbage disposal that they never had before.
Yeah.
They've never used a disposal. So naturally, some homeowners will dump the food all in there, pile it up, not realizing they are actually jamming the disposal, and then they'll turn it on without running water. That's not how you really want to operate a disposal. So we're going to explain to you how you should operate a disposal so that it works properly for you and help you not to have clog issues. One of the things you want to do is first, you want to turn on hot water, okay? And then after the hot water, turn the switch on, and then start slowly pushing the food through. That way, the disposal is actually chopping up and grinding, and it's allowing the debris to flow through the drain more easily, and it's not forcing things through.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to make sure we're doing that with the disposal again, because we don't want it to plug up within the disposal, as well as we don't want it to plug up within the drainage piping that the disposal is connected onto. So one of the things we always like to mention to customers, like just being careful with certain foods, right? We want to make sure there's not like heavy starchy foods like rice,
Pasta.
potatoes, pasta.
Coffee grounds is another one.
Especially coffee grounds, stuff like that.
Eggshells.
Yeah,
Big no.
definitely eggshells. The reason why we say coffee grinds and eggshells to emphasize that is mainly because they're very fine, and when they break up, you might think they might pass through. Sometimes they don't. What happens is, because they're such a fine particle, if they're not flushing through, they're gonna sit. It's almost like a sediment within the disposal, and it can harden up, which means it's gonna jam up pretty heavy in the disposal, and if it by chance flows through and it's in the drain line, you can't see that stuff again harden up or settle within the drain, causing some pretty heavy plugs. So we want to be careful with stuff like that. I mean, if a piece of an eggshell goes in, it's not the end of the world, but those are one of the things that we want to make sure is not going down the disposal.
Yeah, especially the coffee grounds, because they get stuck inside, and what happens is that if they start drying up, it starts restricting the flow of the disposal on the inside. So try to avoid putting those down. Once, like Thomas said, a couple of pieces is fine. And the other thing you want to try to make sure you do is after you get all your foods through, run the water continuously for another minute or so, 30 seconds, just to let everything flush through the system so that you don't create any issues for yourself in the future.
Yeah.
Another call we get is that a customer will call and say, I don't know what happened, but my disposal is not working. And once we get to a house, we try to check things out, because a homeowner is all of a sudden thinking they have to go out and buy a brand new disposal.
Yeah.
Not always the case, right, Thomas?
Yeah, because a lot of times, like for an example, if they go to use their disposal, they turn the switch on, and then they don't hear anything. They don't hear the disposal working, so they think, oh, it turned off, it burned out, it died, or whatever. So we'll get that call. We'll come out. We'll take a look. We'll check the switch, obviously, just to reconfirm what they're seeing, and then from there, we usually like to check the reset switch on the disposal. So a lot of disposals will have a little reset switch on the bottom for its power. It's kind of like if there's ever a power surge, power outage, or anything like that, or a tripped breaker, this reset switch will go off. And it'll go off mainly just to protect the disposal. So we usually check that. We see if that switch turned off, and then we'll turn it back on just to make sure, and then turn the power on. And then usually that will solve the issue when we check that. Now there are other instances. What happens is disposal can shut itself off if it gets jammed with something, right? Like if a spoon or a fork falls in, you're turning on the disposal, well, the disposal's trying to grind a metal spoon or whatever, that's gonna get stuck in there, right? And that will turn the switch off in most cases. Other times you might hear like a humming noise, because now the motor is not able to turn, because obviously it has a heavy object in there that's preventing it from doing that. So those are the things we like to check to make sure, especially when we get that call that, hey, my disposal is either not turning on or we're hearing a humming sound. So they kind of all tie in together when it comes to the power and the little breaker switch on there that turns off.
Right. Now, some homeowners will attempt to do these repairs on their own, which is fine. But we're just gonna share with you a couple of things to do to protect yourself. So the first thing, what you wanna do, most disposals will come with a key, an unjamming key that goes into the bottom of the disposal and you're able to turn. Now, before you do that, you wanna make sure that the switch is off. The other thing you wanna check is the reset button is in the on position. Once you have that, then you take the wrench, you put it inside, and you twist it left and right until you can do a full rotation, okay? You wanna make sure, once again, that the power is off, because if the power is on, and you unjam whatever object is in there, that motor will now turn, and you can easily crack a knuckle or hurt your finger severely. So make sure the power is off. Now, once you get it rotating, turn the switch on. If you hear an odd sound, okay, there's an object in there, and that's when times we like to usually put on our rubber gloves with our flashlight and see what's in there.
Yeah.
A lot of times you can put your hand in there and pull it out.
But we would recommend, not necessarily the hand, we would say get some pliers or something you can reach in there without putting your actual hand inside of the disposal. Just again to emphasize safety when operating the disposal, because again it's a kitchen appliance, but it is a motor, and obviously with the motor and with it having blades, we really want to emphasize safety in this regard.
Yeah. So that's a couple of things you can do to help prolong the life of your disposal. Another thing you'll like to be able to do is take a couple of ice cubes 2 or 3 times a month, and toss them in there, turn the motor on, run the water, and let the ice sharpen up the blades, and they will help prolong the life of that disposal. And you should be okay for a long time with that disposal, right?
Yeah, because especially with the ice thing, because some of the manufacturers out there would recommend that, where they'll say every so often throw a couple cubes of ice, like George was just saying, just again to help sharpen up the blades, and if there's any debris on the blades itself, sometimes that can help knock it off and stuff. One of the other things we do recommend to not do is you can't put drain cleaning products down the disposal.
Big issue.
Especially if you're noticing, my disposal's not working. Sometimes people might assume that it's clogged. Or if they see some water, like some sort of blockage, you absolutely cannot put drain cleaning products down in there. Because what can happen is, one, it might void any warranty specific to that brand product. 2, you're dealing with different metal components within the disposal, right? A lot of those drain cleaning products, not knowing what it is, depending on the concentration of the chemicals, that can really damage the disposal on the inside. It can potentially rust it out or corrode it out completely, which means you just completely
ruined your disposal.
Yes, exactly.
Ruined your disposal. Buy a new one.
Yeah, so you definitely cannot put anything down that drain itself. So you really want to be careful with that, especially if you have a single bowl sink and all you have is that disposal there.
Right.
So that's why we generally emphasize that. And now sometimes people might ask the question, or they've done it themselves. There's products out there that says, disposal fresheners, right? Or they're like little straw or gel ball looking things that people might put down in there. Some people might swear by them. We at GT Campbell Plumbing, we don't like to advertise doing that or advise people to do that. But again, each homeowner is different. They're going to do what they're used to. We just say practice caution when it comes to using any appliance, because we want to make sure that, say we install the disposal for you, or you just happen to, move into a home that has one there. We want to make sure that it lasts long for you, right? We want to make sure that whatever appliance that you're having, it's going to live the full life of that appliance. So practice caution, as well as, make sure that you have all your paperwork. If you have a brand new disposal, check your owner's manual. See what it says when it comes to using any outside products. Sometimes they will say, hey, warranty is voided if you use anything that goes inside. Exactly.
Product. Yeah.
So again, practice caution, check your manuals if you have them available. A lot of brands out there say you moved into a house and there's one in there and you have a name on that disposal. You can look up those manuals for it. They're generally still available online.
All right, so guys, in a nutshell, this is what you want to try to do to help prolong that disposal. Once again, turn the water on, turn on the switch, slowly put the food through. After food goes through, then just let the disposal run for another minute or so with the water, and then you're good to go. Once again, when your disposal jams up, you're probably better off calling a plumber, but if you try to be bold to do it yourself, just be cautious. Remember what we just said, and keep the switch off anytime you're trying to move or look into the disposal. Do not have that switch on. So thank you for being here with us today, and have a good day.
Yep, and again, I'm Thomas Campbell.
And I'm George Campbell.
Take care.